I mean, I'm not.
Do we
but then,
have
like,
a figure on what that to and from was?
And I can refer them to.
But I don't know when,
Or like,
and I don't see any ordinance talking about it. So I'm like, I don't know where it's at.
It wasn't that many long ago. We had,
Yes.
all of them were up here.
Yeah.
I think, was
But I
that
don't
just
think I was
between
the
you?
auditor. I don't think I was the auditor one. I think it was before 14.
You think it's been that long ago?
Mhm.
okay, it's
And
9:00. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. We'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. We need approval of the agenda. Is there any deletions, corrections, or additions? I have one myself. We're gonna go ahead and remove item number 5. And then I would like to add in that space. We're gonna have some folks from the financial audit that we received here to speak to us. What was their names?
Chris Nelson, I believe, is the one who's coming.
Other than that, that's all I have.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approval of Tuesday, September 5th minutes. I thought they read well. I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the minutes.
A second.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 1, to approve City of Manning Memorandum of Understanding for Ambulance Service, and we have Jamie here to kind of discuss this. We finally got the go-ahead from the City of Manning. Basically, our hiccup was work comp.
Initially, that's been going on for a while. That's been resolved.
Okay,
This is just more of a, who's gonna do what, who's gonna supply what. Some of you aren't familiar with how it works, but we have 4 satellite ambulances and like Manning and Coon Rapids operate about the same, but they have a director. And then the director oversees that staff and with my oversight as well. But they just wanted clarification. This has been going on since, 2018 roughly. They started drafting one and then it kind of fell through the cracks but I've been working on this since, for almost 2 years that I've been the director.
and how often do you guys revise this?
This is the first draft or so, but I mean, situational dependent, you'll have to revise it if something changes. Obviously, but
Has the county attorney blessed this current draft?
yes, you did. My goal is to have this as the template for every other satellite ambulance. There might be some site differences in how they want to do things, but overall, I think this is, the best bet going forward and hopefully making Rapids will adopt it without any issues, which I think they will.
Yeah, I read through it pretty straightforward, I think.
Yeah.
And they're gonna track their hours and submit them.
So I go through every single report in the county that's written in the county and I track who was there as long as they document who was there.
Okay.
That way the pay, like with the pay that we discussed for the extra 25 for the report, I'll take care of doing all that. And then I just report that to them. And then the city's going to pay them directly. They're going to take care of the work comp, housing, ambulance, stuff like that.
I'll make a motion to approve the memorandum of understanding between the ambulance service and the city of Manning that was revised on July 10th, 2023.
I will second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Jay.
All right,
Thanks,
item
Jay.
number 2 is secondary roads. Zach has some utility permits, construction, and a construction update. Good morning, Zach.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Good. Yourself?
Wonderful.
Utility permits, the first one is for Raccoon Valley Electric. East section 13. This is just, getting a new service across Mahogany Avenue. Nothing atypical from what we normally would see. This can be boarded, so. Second one is for Alliant Energy. This is over near Ralston, Glidden Township, section 25 and 36. They are looking to basically take their line off of some existing poles on the north side of the road of 210th Street, I believe, and hang their line on some existing poles on the south side. So basically, they're just reinstalling their overhead power on a different set of poles.
From the north side to the south side,
Moving to the north side of the south.
and all is existing.
It's all existing. There's one new pole I think they have to put in, and then they'll be removing the other poles and filling the holes, basically. So not a long stretch, a little over half mile, it looks like.
Yeah, it didn't seem very long.
So, but it's not something we do all the time, but I don't see any reason why that won't be, if anything, be a benefit. There's one less set of holes sitting out there for us, so. Okay.
So they're hanging on to which company the existing pole?
I actually think that Alliant might own both sets of poles. I don't, it was really confusing in what he was trying to tell me. I think the gentleman I was talking to was new to this position, so I don't know if he was completely online with everything. I think he was getting, some of this information was getting fed to him.
Well, I
So
would think it would be their poles, because especially that where that's feeding into the soil.
Right.
right, there are no other utilities on those poles already, I think. So I mean, there's gonna be multiple things hanging on that set of poles. So, but still no issues with that.
Just out of curiosity, this has nothing to do with our decision, but is it because they're wanting to update to be able to supply more power to that?
I don't know for sure. They have 3-phase already and they're sticking with 3-phase. So I don't know if they're
Really changing.
not that I'm aware of, but it could be. I mean, I know they're kind of been continually kind of doing work over there. So I wasn't, I guess, not that I'm aware of, but it could be.
I'd entertain a motion to approve the utility permits.
I'll approve a motion to for electric under Mahogany and transfer the lines on 210th.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
I,
Opposed, motion carries.
Thank you. Construction updates, a few things we got done and still going on. On N58, the Greene County line, we had a contractor come in and do crack filling and slurry leveling. They did get that complete. They're mostly done over a week ago. Last week, they finished the last small stretch. That's half greens, so bill will be split. So
that bill of 62,000 is
that's half of the crack filling. The slurry leveling is
120 comes out.
it'd be roughly 120,000 for all of it. But it was 12 miles and the cracks were getting very wide and very deep at the joints. So
Green County, that's the exact amount too.
so it's hopefully we'll make that payment last for a number of years.
but didn't the payable say Guthrie?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, it did. See crack filling Guthrie.
It's to the Guthrie County line, but it's.
That's why I assumed it was Green County, but
Greene County is split, but it's to the Guthrie County line, I guess, so. We also had them had the same contractor do some, bridge ends and culvert depressions while they're here as well, like, the one closer to town would be just by the landfill, the bridge on the south side was always a big bump. They got that leveled out. It's much better. So we did about 5 locations like that as well while they were here, so.
You said bridge ends and culvert what?
Culvert depressions. Other work that we did, had a contractor come in and do spray injection patching on 190th Street. east of Crystal. So this would be adjacent to the co-op in Arcadia. That road, the joints and cracks were getting pretty bad as well. So we got, and that's the same work that was done, the same work that was done
Maple River.
in Maple River and Mount Carmel, so. We'll also have a contractor in that is grouting and tying and lining some various culverts. He should get done this week as well. We have him come in every year to, it's mostly concrete pipes that we're grouting and tying. So then sometimes we'll line some CMP pipes if they're starting to fail, especially on the paved roads, or if it's a really deep fill.
So when do they tie them together then with some sort of
Yeah,
bracket?
they have an internal strap basically that they put in to tie them together, and then they grout the seams so that way they can't leak and dirt can't infiltrate in, so. Nice way to not have to dig up the road or sometimes the end section will have to reset, but not have to at least tear up the road, so.
Or devil that's getting fallen or?
Claustrophobic.
They'll do up to 24-inch pipe, and they'll crawl on a 24-inch pipe, so it's not a guy my size, I'll put it that way. Last thing, our county crews are working on extending the box culverts down at M66 as well. We got one done, and we're kind of starting on the second one. I believe we got 2 more yet to do, so try to get in preparation of continuing with that project. Working on the right of way, trying to get that acquired, and then hoping for doing some dirt work next spring to get those shoulders.
So when do you think they'll do the actual paving?
I'm hoping later next summer, but it kind of depends on what we can get done if we get that shoulder work done first thing this spring. So we'll have to kind of play that by ear a little bit and see how it goes.
So, is any of those, steel concrete or steel tubes that you gotta extend?
No,
They're
not down
all,
there.
they're all gonna be all concrete?
There might be some pipes down there there could be some CMPs down there. I'm not sure, Gene, but none of the ones we're extending are. They're either concrete box culverts or a concrete pipe. I think all of them are boxes that we're extending.
Well, I drove that yesterday and I seen some that they've done. I could see where they dug some other ones up, but.
Yep.
I thought maybe some of them might have been some steel ones.
I don't, for sure, we're not having to extend any. I know that. I know we will want to look to do a field review. There's none that were had needed to be extended if there were any, so. That's all I got.
Perfect.
Thanks, Zach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zach. Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is the GIS Department quarterly updates. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning. Good morning. Thank you guys for having me this morning. So passports is the first thing I have on the list there. We took 135 pictures, did 134 new passports. The reason those numbers don't coincide is sometimes people bring in their own photos, and then sometimes I have people come in for renewals.
So 3 months.
This is just 3 months, yeah. So this is, I apologize that it's so late. This is for April, May, and June here. Mondays were a little bit busy there. So I just wanted to make sure I got in today to get this done before my next quarter one in October. So again, I apologize that it's so delayed. But the reason there's that difference, there's, like I said, sometimes people bring in their photos, and then we have individuals that come in with renewals. We don't process those. We just can take their photo, and then I give them instructions on where to send it. It is in the instructions, but sometimes those instructions do get a little lengthy. So it's nice to be able to tell the people where they can go. Phone calls are still pretty steady between passports and zoning. I do field a lot of those. I apologize. My second bullet point was actually for July, so we can cross that off. As splits come in through the assessor's office, I process those, and that creates the new parcel number, which we do as the assessor gives those to me. Some maps I created for those 3 months was the city of Carroll wanted a revitalization map, and the city of Manning needed a 42 by 42 map of their addresses to verify that all of their addresses were updated. When I gave them their map, they realized that they didn't have all of their addresses updated, so I got like 27 addresses in a day to update in the system, which is totally fine, but it was nice that they had requested that map so we could get all those addresses updated for 911 purposes. In June, the 12th through the 16th was ITAG, which is the statewide GIS and IT event in Des Moines. I co-chaired that, so part of that extensive work was that my hotel was paid for, so that was really nice. Nice little benefit to chairing that conference for the group. A lot of fun, a lot of work for that. Migrating more maps to Pro. We've been talking about Pro for a few years now, and we're currently on ArcMap, but our third-party applications for the farms program for the assessor's office and the parcel builder administrator that I use to create those new parcel numbers, they're available in Pro now. So I want to keep getting ready to move to Pro because that ArcMap is going to be on service, and that's where Esri is going. So trying to get everything more parcel fabric ready. It's kind of a tedious project, and I don't know extensive GIS knowledge here. So we've got several layers. We've got our cadastral layer, which is just lines. And then I have a bunch of polygons, which we use for our fire districts, parcels. So anytime there's a curve, when we pull them in from CAD, there are multiple points on that curve, which I have to go in and remove, and then have 2 points and snap it in for each layer to make it more cohesive for the fabric. If we get to a point where we're ready for that configuration and all of that isn't done, it's going to cost us more money to configure it. So that's why it's very important that I'm doing this in my spare time, trying to get all of that ready to go. It's going to save the county money when we're ready to go to the fabric, which is what Pro is running off of. Pardon me, upcoming. So I'm part of the ITAG conference committee. We're looking at moving from our current location to another one. So I helped with talking to some hotels and getting that going. So that way ITAG can keep going for all of the GIS and IT folks. NG 911, I am the backup GIS liaison for the 911 Council. And we have monthly meetings there. GIS support group. So I'm District 1's representative for the GIS support group. And that's basically if anybody in our district or within the state has questions, I'm one of those people they can come and talk to. So that's pretty nice and pretty great for Carroll County. Ongoing, like I said, we did 27 new addresses, 26 new plats, 18 easements. I update those child safety zones on the website. Every month we do that NG 911 to make it cohesive for the state of Iowa. So it's been pretty fun. We've passed our grants. They went from quarterly to monthly starting in July. So July, August, and September, we've already passed for the NG 911 grant. Any questions on GIS and passports? Zoning, I've had 3 of Board of Adjustment meetings in April, May, and June. We started our comprehensive plan meetings. So we meet once a month to talk about our comprehensive plan. That's about 13 years old. So we're updating that with a steering committee and Region 12. 25 building permits were required in those 3 months. I've had conversations with individuals and groups in regards to wind turbines, solar. Every month, the Census Bureau wants to know housing that we've had built. So they want to know total number of housing units and the cost of those housing units. So I have to turn that in monthly. COZO is county zoning officials in Iowa. I attended that in Dubuque in May. Learned a lot of great things, made a lot of good connections. So that way, if I have questions in zoning, I have some good people to think off of. So that was nice. One of the big focuses there was pipeline, solar, and wind turbines. So it was a lot of great conversations in May, and I'm very happy that I went. Upcoming, but has already passed, was that ISAC attended in Des Moines, and I will talk about that on my next quarterly. Yeah. It's been fun.
Back on comprehensive plan, what percent of that you think is completed?
I think we've kind of gotten through the chapters, and now it's just we're kind of getting the nitty gritty done. I think I feel like we've gone through all the chapters.
I think so.
And now it's just kind of putting it all together. I think it
I
was like
suppose
spring.
we've reviewed a whole bunch.
Yeah, I think it's spring. I know we'll get to a point where it'll be ready to bring to the
Public hearings.
public and public hearings and everything. But I feel like we've gone through every chapter.
Good.
So it's been good. Thank you for your work. Yeah, thank you.
Does anybody have any questions?
All right.
Thank you.
guys.
We need a motion to accept it, Courtney.
Thanks.
Thanks.
All right, item number 4 is to approve payables. Jean and I were just discussing. And I don't know how to go about this, but under Department 28,
We have to do it.
I know we have to pay it, but is there any negotiating or discussions we can have with the proper people? Because $928.37 is for one individual and the other one's $1,570.
Well, I think that one individual did not come back to Carroll County. But Courtney and I was talking about a little bit ago, that there was a point when there was a meeting between all the funeral homes,
Mhm.
and I don't know who else was from up here was involved, but do you remember? You don't either. Maybe we need to have that discussion again.
You gonna be okay?
We just went down the wrong tube.
Okay.
We'll have another one. But we, according to code, we have to pay for both ways.
Both ways.
But I mean, it sounds like it's starting to be a lot of money to me.
And then my other question, Department 99, and I'm glad you're in here, Sarah. I assume when you handed in your receipts, it was itemized for the Dupaco credit cards?
Yep.
Perfect.
I took all of those from the ISAC meeting.
Perfect.
For like, what, on 28 on the, why is there? The bottom two, why are they so far off?
This one didn't come back.
One went.
But I mean, I don't think in the past they have been that high as that 16. And there's some other charges on that 16 too. I don't want to get into it too deep and.
Yeah.
But,
Well, I know that, I'm at a loss for the name. I think of his name right now, but he's always very open if you have questions and stuff. Talk to him. The owner of the business, Don
Oh, yeah.
and,
Jay,
Jay.
Jay, there you go.
So I mean, he would be happy to answer any questions.
well, and maybe after this meeting, I would like, see, is there an easy way to pull all those up in the last 3 months?
Sure.
See what the difference on the prices are?
Yeah.
And maybe that takes care of the question.
Okay.
Maybe I'm just reading outside the box here.
I'd entertain a motion to approve payables of $715,326.30.
No, make a motion to approve.
What's that gonna?
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Pass this around if you guys want to sign on.
Still have a little bit of time before 9:30, so we'll go ahead and we'll go to item number 6, the courthouse HVAC remodel project moving quotes. I think everybody received the quotes, and Scott, thank you for taking the time and meeting with the individual companies. We have 3 different bids. And this would pertain to moving the courts back up, this floor down. And that's it. It doesn't talk about the future bringing them back up. This is just for now.
the one quote I don't have a hard copy of is Prison Industries. So they come from Rockwell City. So it'd be a supervisor and 4 inmates. And I think I've heard from the county attorney and the courts that they don't think it would be appropriate for them to move the courts back up. But as far as moving this floor down, they were $133 an hour. So if we were to use them for 32 hours, which would way more than get this floor down, their total cost would be $2,660. It's something to think about. The county attorney is not necessarily in favor of using convicted inmates to move
What was the hourly rate again?
100 for 4 people, including a supervisor, is 133 per hour.
Okay, so we have Iowa Prison Industries at 133
An
an
hour.
hour. Odd Jobs did full scope of work at 23,500. I'm just giving you guys comparisons, okay? And then the last one is 2 men in a truck. And their scope of work would total
14,160.
$14,160.
And that was for full scope also.
Yes.
How many
So
hours were you figuring? 30?
32 is what I figured. I figured if it was 4 days, which I don't think it will consume anywhere
So
near that.
roughly, what did we think the prison industry is going to be?
The max would be, yeah, the max would be 2,560.
How many hours did the other one got put down, you know?
He hasn't.
$2,600.
Yeah, that's what she got.
So,
But if you do the prisoners, you said that you need to have someone else do that.
So it would be phase A. So we have a bid from Odd Jobs that would be the courts. Like his note says auditor, but I think when it says move auditor furniture, I think that is the way I asked him to quote it. This was his estimate number 3 was $3,500. I think that was to bring the courts back upstairs.
And can you pull up 2 men in a truck
Yeah.
and see what their,
4,800,
to come up on that?
just quotes.
Just courts.
So Odd Jobs would get,
They're really close. Odd Job and 2 men in a truck are really close on that one, but then Odd Jobs is $10,000 higher on the main floor.
so my question is, so this could be potentially a 2-part thing. We could have Iowa Prison Industries, mind you, everything is locked. There'll be supervisors, there'll be people here. I'm gonna come help the 2-day process. I think even if we wanted the sheriff to have a deputy come through, but they're gonna have a supervisor. I have a really hard time spending almost, let's just say,
7,500 extra. Thank you.
yeah, of the taxpayer dollars, when we can be here, make sure the items are secure. And we are not obligating you guys to be here. I just am gonna choose to be here. I will say the one thing I did like about 2 men in a truck, I liked how organized they were going to be, but it does not mean that we can't have departments. So one thing I liked is they had stickers, color-coded stickers. You'd need 4, red, green, blue, whatever. So that each department can put a sticker on their stuff. So when the movers come, they know exactly which office it goes to, so things don't get lost. One forewarning we did receive was some of the desks that are in some of the offices. I don't think it's your panels, but some of the panels are older and they didn't promise that they would go back together as well as easy.
2 men in a truck said that, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me. Those things are bought in the early 90s.
Yeah, and I think the ones that clip in together, so like Cindy has one that clips in together. I'm not 100% sure, but I think yours is a panel.
Mine
clip-in.
is, but like Emily and Jesse's are the
Are not.
original.
Yeah, so those were the ones that they forewarned us that might break. I think you're gonna have that with anybody though. Especially when you're talking about things that are 50 years old.
Yeah.
So the quote from Iowa Prison Industries from the county attorney was, I don't consider supplying a bunch of criminals for important work to be responsible. I have had occasion to contract out work and we specify clean criminal records. It's not good business, so keep that in mind.
And I respect his opinion, but also do we have a criminal record from everybody that's entering in this building? From other departments? Did we ask for that in the quotes
From 2 men in a truck.
No,
or even adjuncts? I spoke my piece.
what are we looking for today? Cause obviously this is two scopes of work.
We do need to make a decision today because all this work's gonna be happening within
But you need to make it in two separate.
yes. The
Well, the
courts,
thing is, you're gonna have to make sure you coordinate that. If we do it with two different bids, we better make sure that one is here one day, not both of them, because that,
Right, so the scope of
They
work, the way
wouldn't
they did it was the 12th and 13th to move the courts back up. I don't think it'll take 2 days, but with state disconnecting computers. So if you notice in the bids, 2 men in a truck, they said no computers. I made them revise that to just no computers if they were to get the bid to move the courts up. The rest of this stuff, it'll be unplugged for them, but they still have to move it down.
and I personally can carry computers. I have no problem, totally capable. I know we can't touch the state stuff, but
And the state's gonna be involved with the DOT moving down.
so the first thing we need to decide is who's gonna do phase one, which is moving the courts back upstairs. And it can only be between 2 men in a truck and odd jobs, because they will not allow Iowa Prison Industries to touch their items from the state.
And we don't have to take the lowest bid. We want to make sure it's a responsible bid, is what
well,
the county attorney's advice is.
one thing odds jobs is one that moved it down so that you know how it goes back.
I also would like to try and keep it local as much as possible to support local business.
And they're $660 cheaper, right? Roughly 6,800 or whatever it is, 600 and something.
That part they could bid effectively because they moved it down. They knew when we walked them through and told them on this first floor, yeah, everything here goes down. Well, I assume there's going to be a dumpster and a lot of this stuff, or some of this stuff might get pitched along the way.
Oh, you need a motion to approve something here? I'd make a motion to approve odd jobs to move the courts back up for, I'm gonna say it was $3,500 on that.
I will second that.
There's a motion and a second for odd jobs to do phase one to move circuit courts back upstairs in the amount of $3,500. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
Community truck, just to go up, so keep that right. 4,800. And they're 14,160 total, right?
Okay, so now we're gonna talk about phase two. Phase two is this level going down. We have 2 men in a truck at $5,760.
There's two parts to that, Stephanie.
There is,
The 4,800 plus the 5,700.
oh, okay. So technically 14,160.
No, you got minus the
4,800
3,600
plus what?
plus 5,760.
It's 10,560. Is there,
So this was the courts. So if you take this.
I was
this,
just in this whole, okay,
yeah, keep that out.
okay.
10,560.
And what did you guys say?
Start over the odd jobs is at 20.
Odd is at 20. 2 men in a truck is at 10,560. And Iowa Prison Industries would be roughly
133 an hour.
$2,600.
26 max. It would be
$2,600.
Yeah.
So we're looking at quite a difference here. And again, we don't have to take the lowest bid. We just have to take the most
The
reasonable and responsible.
2 men in a truck. Stephanie was here for that conversation also. They do have a lot of experience. They did this exact same thing in Knoxville for Marion County. And so they're familiar with, and I don't know if it'll be the same crew, but the guy who came to bid it. They have those speed totes and they used a lot of the big books you have your plats in or whatever. And they put those on wheels instead of reassembling them, but for the 6-month period. And they could be rolled, they're on rollers.
Which
So they're
we
easily
had talked
acceptable.
about that we could put them into the assessor's vault because nothing's happening there instead of moving them all the way down. Say wrap them. I know there's some things you have to have access to, and some of those books are not hardly ever accessed. And if a person comes in, we can make it very clear, like, hey, if you need to reach out to anything in from 1902, it's gonna be a little tricky for about 6 months. It's not doable, but
So what would prison or prison?
Well,
they
I
would
like
just
the
carry them?
cost of prison, but yeah, they're not gonna have supplies or anything. They're just gonna bring dollies or 2 men in a truck. They do bring all the padding that they perhaps would need, bubble wrap things. They are experienced at it. Prison Industries would be probably less experienced, but those people they have done moves before.
So we may have to buy a few things. Maybe bubble wrap or something.
Yeah,
It's possible.
Bubble wrap or something over your bum.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'll donate the stickers.
We have, multiple color, like duct tape.
Yeah.
Red, white, green, I don't know, there's like 4 or 5 different colors. That's what we planned on using on our stuff. It's just putting pieces of tape on ours.
And keep in mind,
They have
too,
multiple colors, so other offices.
I'm not trying to guide you guys towards a choice, but this is gonna happen during the week. Our elected officials and even department heads are going to be here in their offices. So you say one supervisor, I say there's all sorts of supervisors gonna be within.
Would you block off for dates on this?
the 16th and 17th. It's a Monday, Tuesday. And the way I kind of told him to did it was, I know there's an election or early in-person voting starts October 18th.
So we would like to
So-
get Courtney's done first.
So the scope of work, the way they did it was first would be the auditor and recorder in one day, get moved down. And the next day would be the treasurer and the DOT and the assessor.
And on Iowa prisoner, you have a third day in there, right?
I'm just saying they have just the hours,
I know.
the number of hours, yes, yeah. And he has not been on site, he's familiar, and he's been in the courthouse before. But I kept getting pushback saying, no, we can't use him, so he did not do an on-site visit. They said regardless, they're just a flat $133 an hour. I will be here with them and there will be 4 people. And that time clock.
And then 133 is for all 4 people.
Yeah.
Is there other companies or businesses in Carroll that have used them?
The landfill uses them frequently, Game One uses them frequently.
Or
City of
McLaughlin's,
Britta's used them a lot. too.
They were in City of Glidden.
Game One uses them.
I got the contact information from Mary Ridgway, the Solid Waste Commission.
And she had nothing but praises for the,
Well, the county used them.
what?
The county. You gotta go back in history, of course, but
Ice storm.
when with the,
Was it the ice storm they came down and all?
well, that too, and then we've used them over at when we got the Elks building. They gutted that place for us.
It's kind of 60.
So the county
So
has used them.
we have used them in the past. And they did an excellent job, and they were more than happy to be here because they got to get a good meal we provided them. We do have to provide them.
I don't know if that's part of it.
I think that's a great idea.
Mhm.
And think about the boost of confidence you're giving these individuals. They're going to be, these aren't people that are in for life. These people are transitioning into everyday life.
Well, they're the ones that are about ready to be released.
Didn't the governor do a Iowa release or transitioning back into the workforce, some kind of initiative?
Maybe.
It's dollars and cents.
That's when you're moving them, right?
I'm going to be here, so you can say 2 supervisors are here.
I find it interesting.
So there's 3 supervisors. And I think Courtney, can you watch your department?
No, I'll definitely be here.
Okay. There's 4. Sarah?
I'll be here.
Okay, there's 5.
Zach, you gonna bring roads crew for backup?
Make the motion.
Uh,
Okay, we're entertaining a motion for phase 2 for the courts move,
No.
not the courts, but courthouse.
the courthouse, main floor, October 16, 17. I'm gonna make a motion to hire Iowa prisoners at $133 an hour. Looks like on October 16 and 17.
I can second that.
There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. You,
So who, yeah, Courtney, do you contact them or do I, or how does that work?
I can, but since you reached out to him,
No, I have no problem. I can let all three of them know who got what. So Odd Jobs is doing the courts, bringing them back up. 2 men in a truck, nothing, and Iowa Prison Industries ground floor to first floor to ground floor.
can you ask their supervisor to make a trip here to explain the scope of work and I can be here?
I will call him as soon as this meeting's over.
Thank you. Okay. Sorry to keep you waiting. I know we went a little bit past
That's all right.
9:30, but let's go ahead and move on to, we're gonna go to item 5, the financial audit. And I'm sorry, what was your name?
Chris.
Chris. Nice to meet you, Chris Nelson. If you want to go ahead and take a seat up here, I'll let Cindy kind of.
Thank you for coming. So, I asked Chris to come and give us a little bit of guidance as to our audit, deficiency regarding time cards.
Okay.
And also, there was one on there too about the CCGP, but if we could go through the time card, deficiency or issue, our problem is we want a corrective action put in place so that it doesn't show up. Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so as part of the testing, done during the audit, it was identified that not all departments, not all individuals are doing time sheets or time cards. So there's not necessarily an appropriate tracking of hours worked, but also comp time taken, vacation time taken, sick time, and those things. And, you know, so very simply, the recommendation is that everybody should be doing a time card so that those hours are tracked. The time cards should be submitted every pay period, so that the hours can be tracked timely. It's not uncommon. You're not the only county that gets this type of comment, but it is important, and therefore that's why it's included.
And so if we have a department or two that just refuse to do that, is there anything we can do to still not keep coming up as, or will that still just keep coming up?
Yeah, I mean, if they don't do time cards, it's still gonna come up. You know, if it's one particular department, then yeah, maybe the comment will be a little more specific to say this certain department isn't doing time cards rather than, you know, the county as a whole. But you know, yes, the comment needs to continue. You know, ultimately, you know, if there's some that refuse, you know, it comes down to, do they want a paycheck, do a time card or a timesheet? You know, that seems harsh, but yet, you know, that's ultimately the best way to get them to comply.
can you, if somebody's considered exempt, would they be required to turn in a time card?
Well, you know, even salaried individuals, I would say yes. Because there still needs to be current timely tracking of time worked, time taken off. You know, when someone uses leave, you know, it should be approved prior to taking a leave, for vacation or comp time or what have you. You know, that should be documented on the timesheet, by a supervisor or, in that department. Yeah, even, you know, elected officials, everyone should be doing a timesheet, and it doesn't have to be, you know, real complex. It can be a, you know, simple piece of paper with, you know, columns and lines, and you mark down your hours and what day it was and the days you just took sick time or vacation time or whatever it may be.
And that would be important information to have for other reasons as well.
Right.
Yeah. You know, who was at work and who was not.
And then I think you had another question on, one of the items included, related to the economic development funding.
Mhm.
And the comment that's in here is more for disclosure rather than, a compliance issue. This is something the state auditor's office.
So we were just
started-
talking about 22,004, correct? The one prior, 2022,004. Okay,
Oh, yes. yeah,
so which
on
one
that-
are you
that
shifting
comment.
to now? Yeah.
Yes.
Which one are you going to?
I'd like to keep on the payroll.
Yeah, let's keep on the payroll.
Stay on the payroll for a minute.
Okay. Which is 004. Thank you.
What? Just trying to think about how to phrase my question.
You're thinking the same thing I have, I think. Well, you're saying that you could hold their paycheck?
The Board of Supervisors cannot, because we do not approve payables.
But you can have a policy in place that says a time card needs to be done prior to issuing a paycheck. You
So
know,
the Board of Supervisors could make that a policy, but you would have to follow, it would be pretty much under your discretion, right? Courtney being the auditor,
Well,
that,
I would think so, because that's we're the ones that issue the paychecks.
because we don't approve payable or the,
See,
right,
we're getting this. We're getting, told that we have no control over that, those departments. That the department head does, that we,
I gave you guys a sample from another county that had it in their handbook that stated, all non-exempt, non-elected are required to turn in a time card on such and such a date. If this is not done, then the check will not be issued. They did not, they broke it out by exempt, non-exempt, but,
so we would be considered.
I think you-
I have no problem doing a time card.
I would think
problem.
you'd need to put that in the handbook and then have everybody get a copy of that, sign off if they got a copy of that to do, in order to do that. You guys have the authority to do that, for sure.
But let's just say, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, using your words.
Go
We do
ahead.
nothing. How long does the audit go with red flags until something happens? And if something happens, what is that?
what happens as far as the comments?
What's the county liability if we do nothing?
Well, I mean,
'Cause it's not
ultimately,
broken.
if, there's improper reporting of payroll or whatever, you might be paying somebody wrong, you may not be paying them enough. You don't know necessarily if you're complying with the Fair Labor Standards Act. Because those hours aren't.
so if something came out of that, it could fall back on this board. As,
On the county, sure,
because we didn't have the oversight on it.
yeah.
Because technically, we have been told all we do is the fiduciary responsibilities for the county. So our main focus is the budget, which to me is convoluted a little bit when you start talking about salaries and payroll, because that is part of the county budget. It's one of our higher items that the taxpayers pay for. I don't know, but I know Courtney oversees. It's just confusing
Yeah, 'cause I mean, in July, you guys approved
what they get
all the salaries.
paid.
So you guys are
Correct.
approving the salaries and then I just did,
You,
You do payroll.
yeah.
so what was the response under 2022,004? What was the, I don't have that.
I don't have it in front of me either.
I've got the condition, the cause, but I don't have page 64.
Yeah, I mean.
Says the board of supervisors shall implement something,
Yeah,
I
the
think.
board will pass policy regarding submittal of timesheets and leave reports to ensure compliance with the Fair Labor Standards Act.
And what was our reply?
That was our reply.
That was your response.
And we have done nothing.
We have not created the policy that it's talking about.
Well, and I don't know that you could just simply update the handbook, because in the handbook, it talks about payroll.
Yeah.
Another scenario that I'm thinking of is say someone has a back problem. And then they say, oh, I wrenched my back on X day lifting something. And we don't even know if they were here or not. You know, yeah. At work, because we don't have time card. Okay, type of scenario.
It's a good,
Well, and I think with that policy, what we need to do is have that supervisor or elected department head or whatever they are. They need to sign off on that pay sheet too.
I think we have a couple departments that do that, don't we?
We have, I would say a majority of our departments all have timesheets that the department head sees.
Because you're the boss of that department. You oversee what happens in that department. You're approving the hours worked, correct?
Correct. Majority of our departments are already doing timesheets. There's just a few that don't. And the few that don't, there's what caused the finding.
I guess my takeaway from this is we, as the board, will reach out to some legal guidance, whether that's in-house or if we pay for out of, what do you call that?
Outsource.
Outsource legal guidance. Either way, we'll just update the policy to say, basically, you need to hand in hours or there will be no paychecks.
So I feel like we either need to create a policy or change the handbook. One of the two.
Which I think this is a good segue into conversation of HR services discussion, which is our item number 7. So, do you have legal people on your staff?
No.
No.
We do not.
Okay. How long have you guys been in business?
Our firm as it is now started in 1984.
So you have just a little bit of experience?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Well,
Okay, does everybody feel confident in that we've discussed that?
yeah, we either need a new policy or we need to update the handbook. One of the other.
Item number 2, we were gonna touch base on, this,
I believe it was,
Yeah, well, I had 22-L, which is related to, economic development. And as I was saying, the state auditor's office started emphasizing this a few years ago to look at it. And this is more of a reminder, disclosure to you as a board to make sure you are considering public purpose of dollars such as this when you contribute to economic development or any other type of organization in the county. So as you approve those, again, consider public purpose, but really also you should be getting back a reporting from the Economic Development Corporation or any other organization that you may contribute dollars so they can report to you how they spent that money. So you can make sure that it does meet public purpose.
Which we currently do, correct?
we do that.
Yeah. And
Well,
so,
that's the purpose of why we make those statements sometimes when we do those developments.
Mhm.
Because, and
We also,
a lot of times I'll say we gotta make notices for economic development or something like that.
so was there an actual, was that just a statement that they put in there? Or was there a finding? What was the?
No, I mean, there's not really a finding. It's more of a, you contributed this amount of money to the economic development. The recommendation is to continue documenting and considering public purpose when those
So-
dollars are spent.
So how do we keep that from coming up on the audit again next year?
Well, it probably will every year.
That's
And
just
it's more of a
a state-
disclosure item. It's not a finding as far as you're doing something.
So you're saying
inappropriate.
any audit that you do for city or county that does economic development is gonna have that.
That's in there, yeah.
That's just more of a reminder so that we do that.
Right.
we did, talk to the mayor last week about, we should get contracts with them too also. People that are public will asking for money like that, not just them, but.
Performance space.
Like a 2080 agreement
uh,
or just contracts.
yeah, contracts.
We're gonna get more into discussions about that come budget season. Well, is there any of the other findings that you found that were substantial or mostly just the time card one? I don't have the information from me, so I didn't have a refresher, but
I'm sorry, I didn't hear your question.
Trying to go by.
any of your other findings, did you find substantial that we really need to find answers to? I don't have the information in front of me.
Of the findings that were included, the one about the ambulance department and the reconciliation of billings and collections. So anytime services like that are outsourced, you still, it's the county's funds, it's public money, you need to do an accounting and reconciliation of those collections, the receivables.
I think
write-offs and
since
so
then
forth.
that has kind of
I think they're consistently working on making that. better.
updating that, yeah.
But,
I think we are leaps and bounds compared to what we were.
Right. I would agree in the 3 years or so.
When do you guys, when's our next audit?
oh, they'll be getting in touch with us. I think we usually see you guys in November.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming. Thanks, Cindy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Chris.
So that contract thing is the city is now, I think, making a contract with anybody that is, asking for money outside of.
Nonprofits.
There you go. Yeah. Legally, I think they want to have them do that. So,
City of Carroll.
yeah.
There's
They
some
said
big,
they'd give us a
there's some big,
template.
yeah, there's some big discussions around that.
Had to cover except case of state
Absolutely.
auditor.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean,
Not
the way they've got it, they want to eliminate any of these extra projects, and what's gonna hurt the nonprofits?
I see.
it is. But I also agree that any of these nonprofits really needs to go to the citizens and ask for these donations, if you will. Because I don't feel right donating other people's money to an
Yeah,
organization.
I agree. But, it just, I like the idea of what they're doing that. I don't know to what scope they're doing it, but I
It's-
think it's a,
I'll just look at my notes. It says validate public purpose contract.
yeah.
So we'll keep an eye open for that, especially since we're gonna be kind of slowly walking into the budget season.
I've seen one that was real generic.
Yeah, and they said there's some generic ones. They just said that it will, save them in audits too. So,
Okay, next item on the agenda is to have HR services discussion. I know this has been kind of a hot topic for our board. We looked at hiring on full-time HR. We've looked at other potential people in the courthouse doing HR. So when I was in Des Moines, I had a conversation with the Iowa Negotiation and Consulting Services. He sent me an email regarding the services that they provide. And I went ahead and highlighted some of the ones that I think are pretty pertinent that we would want to get done. And we're going to look into this further. We're not making a decision today, but I wanted you guys to know that this hasn't left the forefront of my mind, but I do know that we need to update our employee handbook and policies. Cindy's kind of been working on the safety manual, safety procedures. We currently do not have job descriptions, so I would like that to be implemented. The other one I highlighted was discipline and discharge. It would be a great resource for department heads instead of department heads going to maybe a potential department head that there is their coworker. And they do offer some legal advice at no cost to the county. It would be part of their fee that they pay. Now, he did send references so that they do have other references that they work for is Osceola County, Crawford, City of Denison, Fremont, Clark, Wayne. I just wanted to give you guys an option for HR. Instead of hiring somebody full-time, I think if we hired a full-time HR, they'd be busy for about the first 6 months, and then we'd have to try and figure out job duties after that.
The good part about this is we wouldn't have to manage the HR person.
So I just wanted to give you an option. I know, Jean, you had mentioned that there is
Well, a lot of this stuff here, Renee does.
Renee could do.
What's the cost? Is it per hour? Is it per?
I just took what they're willing to do. I can get, if you guys are interested, I can get pricing. And then I'd also, if you want to send on what they're willing to do for services onto Renee and maybe get a quote from her. If you guys would like to go that route instead of hiring.
I think there's
full-time.
several ongoing or existing, or they've been there forever, but keep getting kicked down the road that we need, the job descriptions, the employee handbook. Those definitely need updated.
There's companies that update their employee, they may not make a lot of changes, but they update their employee handbook every year.
Yeah. I like this. I think you should reach out and
So do I, yeah.
see what.
Get some pricing.
The only thing I have an issue with this is someone outside the house, is if you have an issue comes up with an employee, they're not gonna be coming out here right away, be out there to do
I
it.
100% agree about that. Let's see what the price difference is. Is it $5,000 a year, 10
I think
grand?
there's times when you're gonna have to have them be here right now.
Okay, I will,
If you get a situation where somebody needs to be walked out the door,
Where are they based out of?
I'm gonna go, they have regions
Yeah.
of people that live in the regions, and I know they have one that lives in Crawford, so I will,
Dave Mobile in Crawford County speaks very highly of this.
Of this
We
group?
talked to him.
I'll mention
but I
the
said,
concern about
say-
having somebody here.
yeah, I mean,
right
I
away.
think that's, part of it, HR is, you want somebody here to take care of a problem, there's a problem, you don't want. Especially if you get someone that's into
Is there any,
legal-ish situation.
is there any local, I don't know, people that do it?
Well, I know somebody would say they can do it.
I don't.
Can you reach out to Renee and see what
I can't.
Yeah, you might as well. If you know someone local, get a price from them too.
Renee does our union negotiations? I think you've met, have you done any of the unions? No, it's just you two,
I'm
right?
not, I haven't, yeah.
Yeah, it's just.
So she
I've
does,
seen her though.
yeah. she
Very
currently
budget.
does union negotiations.
She's,
I have no problem if you want to reach out to her and see.
Get a couple prices. 'Cause
Okay.
it's-
I mean, there's always the chance that something's gonna happen and HR will be on vacation. Or, working in manufacturing, things happen in second shift, there's no HR. So it could be a training issue for managers. Not issue, but some training that they could have.
well, I mean, from.
I agree with what you're saying, but there won't, even if we hire someone, there's no guarantee that we'll have an HR person here.
That's
when
that's
something-
regardless of whatever,
Yeah.
yeah, and there's no guarantee
Yeah,
they're gonna
there's-
be available.
Yeah,
But I do believe that when we have someone that leaves or like that, there should be an exit interview, and I don't see them.
Should be a
jumping.
process.
Yes, there should be a
Yes.
process. And I'm not for creating new jobs, but I've always been saying we need to do more on this HR.
Yeah.
Because I think HR is one of the things where we're gonna get ourselves in trouble by not crossing and dotting our Ts and stuff. There's too many legal things out here that happen and change the laws that none of us in this room know about
Yeah.
until after the fact, and then it's too late.
Well, number 15 says legal advice provided by them
Mhm.
at no cost to the county. I'd like follow up with them on that. What do they? I don't know how it can be at no cost.
So I will ask for more detail on that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jean's gonna work on talking to Renee. I will reach out to them again, get a little bit more specific, and we'll move forward. Thanks for your guys' discussion.
Thanks for reaching out.
All right, item number 8 approves Class C retail alcohol license for Whiskey Run.
and see no problem with it. Make a motion to approve Class C retail license for Whiskey Run LLC.
Second. There's a motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Sorry.
Motion carries. Item number 9, manure management annual updates. We have Matt Halber, section 25, Iowa Township, Crawford County, no changes. Ben Clucky, section 32, Newton Township, no changes. I assume more of the department heads are gonna come in for the HVAC moving discussion.
I made them all aware of it.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Can we jump into committee, get the committee reports done?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would think so.
Okay.
I know that when you're watching the board meeting, it's a little behind.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that.
We can go ahead and get some of
All right,
the
I'll
committee
go
reports
first.
done.
September 10th, I met with Marty Halber, solar discussion. September 11th, Stephanie and I met with 2 men in a truck. September 11th, Sauk Rail Trail public hearing, Sac County. Mike, I want to talk about that more. September 12th, executive board, solid waste commission meeting. I did go to the sheriff's cell for a property on Northwest Street. September 13th was the owner, architect, contractor phone call here at the courthouse. That did go to Senior Fun Day at the Carrollton. With RSVP and foster grandparents. I'm on those boards.
I was
They were
supposed to be
both
there actually, but
Okay.
I was
There was
busy.
a huge turnout.
Mhm.
You missed it. Friday, I went out to Rhodes, looked at their claims and at the auditor's office. And then, Friday also had a discussion about the treasurer's safe, what we're gonna do with that, with, the treasurer and with Beatty Construction.
Good.
What do you got for upcoming?
Saturday, I went to the Coon Rapids facade dedication ceremony. This week, today at 11:30 is foster grandparents and RSVP. Tomorrow at noon, CCGP board meeting.
There you go. Last week on the 11th, I met with Marty Halber about solar. We had conservation meeting at 3:30. Conservation, if you haven't heard, is Sac County came down. They are trying to repair and replace and fix the dike in the 1,000-acre wetland south of the lake. And they're getting really bad feedback from the DNR about putting cement back on there. It's 0.7 of a mile. So they want to put rock on there, and Sac County is not happy, and nor will we be. So if you want to call your state representative or your any DNR contact and complain, please do, or the governor.
So basically what I'm hearing is it's paved now. They want to fix the problem. But it's up underneath, so they have to remove the paving.
Yep.
The DNR wants to put gravel back on?
Yeah, crushed concrete.
How does that make sense?
I don't know, but it would not be good financially. I mean, I think that trail is a big financial asset for Carroll and Sac County. So, and Sac County is going way above and beyond. I think they're offering to pay for the concrete is our understanding. So it would be no cost to them, but they're like, well, we don't want you to do that because if we have to fix it again, well, they haven't fixed it since, I don't have my notes in front of me, but it's
It's a 25-year lease, which expires.
in 25. So that's the biggest issue here is they have to renew the contract in 25 to let that trail keep going through that 1,000-acre part. I actually met with the mayor yesterday of Lakeview about it again, and he's tried and called, and he called a couple more people last week. He's not very happy because he says that, the next thing it'll go on the road and someone will get killed out there because there's that drainage ditch there and there's nowhere to
Parallel
go.
road to it.
So it's a bad deal. If you know anybody, put your word in. Okay.
Region 12 did approve a grant for that project as well.
Yeah.
They paid for that.
Yes, they just, it's all up to the DNR. It's on lease ground and yeah. Okay, and then, on Wednesday, I zoomed to the WMA meeting, which is in Oakland, Iowa. Thursday, I met with, the mayor. Tomorrow I have Board of Health at noon. That's it.
Okay, let's go through mine real quick. I have DCAT on October 19th. That meeting has been changed from 3 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Still waiting on another hazmat meeting date because the lady who's running that had a baby. Child Care Center, I have that meeting today at 4:30. 911, do not have a meeting date for that yet. They're twice a year. We will have our safety committee, we will have our safety risk assessment tomorrow. Bill Dickey will be here to do that. I met with Marty as well regarding the solar plant on Thursday, and then I also met with Mayor Beardmore on Thursday. That's all I have.
You're done?
I'm done.
Okay, on the 5th, I met with Marty Halbert in regard to solar along with Stephanie. And then on the 7th, I went to Region 12 50th anniversary at Templeton. And then on Friday, I was to Siouxland Child and Siouxland Mental Health. They had a ribbon cutting for Child and Adolescent Center. It's up there on the north side of the mall, south of Sioux City. And it's the old Pier 1 building that is right north of J.C. Penney's. They converted that into a child adolescence, and that is going to do just all kinds of one. It's really a neat building. They've got it really colorful. They're going to do virtual reality therapy, parent-child interaction therapy, senior sensory therapy, art museum, music therapy, sports therapy, and play therapy. And it's all geared for children and adolescents. Quite a place. And then last Thursday had a CCGP executive board meeting and also signed documents for new opportunities. And then Saturday it was at Coon Rapids, the facade dedication. And then this morning, the court up here for the HVAC meeting. Today I have ribbon cutting at DMAC in Templeton. And then Tuesday, a CCGP board meeting. And Friday is the Yes Center board meeting in Cherokee. And I will go into next week because I will not be here next week because I will be going to Washington on Access Washington through Wednesday. And then on Tuesday, have policy council meeting. And then Wednesday also have a Rolling Hills board meeting. I'm going to try to catch some of that by Zoom at the airport. And then on Thursday, I have new opportunity board meeting. And then on the 29th, I'm scheduled for IJAG at Carroll Public School. How's that?
Okay, good. All right, I'll go and then we'll have our last item for the agenda. Last week I had the newspaper and radio. Then I had Region 12 Policy and Executive Board. I can't give you guys too much information, but the executive board did approve our first meat processing loan. And you guys will hear about that once it's fully approved. It's pretty exciting. It's a big economic development for this region, and also some of our,
Is the final location in Iowa?
and I can't discuss any information. So that's fun. I also want to hand around this. So this is probably one of my more favorite reports that come from this is the Housing Trust Fund, but it's got really good information about all the communities that are around Carroll. So you got Carroll, Crawford, Green, Guthrie. It'll show you, I like seeing the population and things like that. So I'll hand this around. Otherwise, everything else is going well there. And get this back organized again. Then I had Region 12 50th dinner in Templeton, and I had the honor of sitting with Mr. Dean Miners during dinner. And the mayor. That's it. Then I met with Marty Halver on some solar farm information. And then Scott and I met with 2 men in a truck. I also had Wesco. And the only thing is I want to report there, they did have 5 resignations and they are currently have some opening positions over there. We are going to this next month, we're going to up the vehicle allowance for Clay to be able to purchase vehicles, because right now his allowance is only $20,000 for a transit vehicle. You're not even in the market. And a lot of times if they can find a used transit vehicle, they need to push the button right down. So instead of having any of the executive board give him the okay, we did dissolve the 7 county workshop. Do you remember that? You do remember that? Mm-hmm. It's dissolved. It was an LLC that was formed. It would have been way before my time, but we are going to dissolve that now because they do have a nonprofit within Wesco, but it must have been the 7 contiguous counties, but only 2 are involved. Audubon and Carroll, I think they're the only ones that still are involved as far as the county. So we did start the process to dissolve that LLC.
Private's going to take it over then?
They already have a nonprofit within Wesco, so it'll just transition over there. Then I had the REC Glidden annual meeting / dinner. I also attended the Republican meeting. Then I started the conversation for the second opioid meeting, and that is set for October 17th at 5:30 p.m. Does anybody want any of the information from the REC? This week, today we had the meeting with Batings, and then I'm also going to be reaching out to the Iowa Negotiation and Counseling Services. And I will be restarting the conversation about county ordinances. And I'm gonna make a probably county-wide email to the department heads and elected officials. If there's any ordinance that's pertinent to their office, just kind of look over it, see if it's, for instance, Ashton, I know you have one that's for UTV, ATVs. I think a lot of that is not even pertinent anymore because of what transpired in the state level. So I guess y'all are here. So if in the next couple of weeks, if you guys could look at the ordinances that are pertaining to your department, see if you guys could just be willing to help us as we go through these. We're gonna have the county attorney involved as well, but it is in our responsibility and scope of work to update those every 5 years.
Do you have a list of all of the ordinances?
I do.
They're on the website.
They actually are on the website. If you go onto government, it will say county ordinances and there'll be 42 of them, but a lot of them are been amended, so they're not even clickable. And it'll say on there, I know Sarah, you got quite a few. Yours is pretty tricky. And I'm not saying yours is gonna happen in 2 weeks. Yours could be one of the ones that happens in further down the road. Cause that one's a long one. I started reading through that. Okay, and that is it. Courtney, what do you got for this week?
As of now, I don't have anything.
Okay. Cindy, do you want to read, is there something you wanted to have on the agenda for next week? I can't remember.
Dean Shady and Bill Dickey, who will be doing the safety risk assessment tomorrow, will come back and talk about that on Monday.
So IAWCA.
Mhm.
And they're traveling here to come talk to us.
Yes.
Yeah, next week too. The, Mike Schultes, how to say it, what about that survey for, the Cricket building?
We got the preliminary one. I showed it to you.
Maybe make that a bullet point so we can discuss.
So we put it on there, put it on next week's agenda too, then.
All right.
Yeah, I couldn't translate what it meant, neither could Courtney.
But maybe I can have Mike come in or something, so.
We got 2 items for next week. Okay. All right, why don't we go ahead and move into the final item of our meeting, which is the courthouse HVAC remodel project department discussion. And we have asked the department heads to be here today. We're going to kind of give you guys a little bit of an update on how things are going, what is projected that's going to be happening. Obviously, we don't know all the answers, but I will go ahead and start off. So projected dates for this level to be moving down to the lower level is the 16th and 17th of October. Okay. Courtney has, or if your own department has a colored sticker, I would like each department to be a different color. So you can stick your stuff so that these movers know exactly which office it goes to. So for instance, Cindy, if you want to be red, you put stickers on it that are red and they know that it goes down to the assessor's office. We will, or I will make signs down there that are just temporary so they know where you guys are going to be located. That way things don't get lost and put into the wrong departments.
Need to have everything stickered by that Friday before, or?
I would,
Yeah,
the 13th. We did go with Iowa Prison Industries to move the items. So there'll be 4 individuals plus a supervisor, plus myself, plus probably some of these other people here to supervise. Any of your cabinets that can be locked, lock them. Ashton and I talked about maybe a potential 2 books that can't be seen by public. We're gonna lock her vault because nothing's happening in Ashton's vault or the assessors. So maybe some of Courtney's books are gonna come over from here to over. We just gotta be willing to be helpful to everybody. I know it's not gonna be fun and it's not gonna be perfect. Things are gonna happen and we just gotta move along, but the end result is gonna be definitely worth it. You guys are gonna have a nice new updated air space. our first move will actually be the auditor's office that morning. Because she has an election.
Wednesday.
People
that-
can vote early on the 18th,
Yeah.
so we need to be.
So we were thinking we would, and it may not go down this way, we're gonna bring in the supervisor from Iowa Prison Industries here to talk through how this is going to work. We were thinking auditor, assessor will go down first day. I don't think it's gonna take a whole day to move these offices.
Earlier said.
They said, did I say recorder?
Yeah.
Whatever. I just know we have to get her down because of the election. And then we'll work on, Lisa, your office is gonna be a little tricky because you've got a lot of public that are coming in, and we're gonna do our best as a board to say it on the radio. And actually, if you want to start this week, go right ahead and just say, hey, come October 16th,
17th.
There will be disruption.
there will be disruptions up until she can get temporarily set up. Try to plan accordingly. If you need something from the DOT or anything from your office, try not to do it that 16th and
Try to
17th.
avoid it.
So you're thinking we will be open to the public on the 16th, 17th?
I would not make any appointments.
Oh, yeah, I would make no appointments.
And I
We're
think
gonna
when-
try.
I think when you make your statement today, make a comment after that, at that point, they'll have to use the lower doors to get into that, down there.
We're not gonna close, but we're not gonna recommend coming in.
The east.
Does that make sense?
We're doing east and south.
There'll be,
The only access
Both
to,
of them are gonna be available.
well, kind of not really because construction workers go through that east door.
but they won't be, they'll be using the front doors.
Oh,
Yeah.
They'll be
It'll
moving.
be flip flop.
So we'll have the east and the south door available to the public.
Will they just do like one computer at a time? Because if our computer and printer's not hooked up, for example, I can't help with the counter. Does that make sense? Or
Yes,
will they do that prior to
Well,
opening?
I plan on moving your computer.
Will Dalton, whoever be there.
Dalton's gonna unhook it and I can move it down.
Now,
I'm gonna be there the whole day, guys, too, so Forrest and I both will be helping, so.
So literally your
Put on the
guest.
radio, I'll just put like, hey,
Yeah.
don't come to the courthouse.
Yeah.
No.
I just mean.
We're not
gonna be here, and
closed,
they're gonna come and
but
they're gonna
we're
say, I
moving.
need to do a renewal and my printer's gonna be unplugged.
And people will show up just. 'cause-
And if they do, they may wait an hour. Elections, you go to any city, you wait an hour, 2, 3, 4 hours to vote. That is what it is.
Yeah.
So we're gonna recommend not to come, but we're not closing.
There you go.
And I would say only come in an emergency.
And when we get to moving your office, the contracted people that are moving your office are gonna move your desk. I have no problem moving a computer by myself.
Yeah,
That's
no,
why
I
I'm
get
gonna,
that, but those be times where we can't work. I think it'll be easier to, and just have us all here helping through.
Then they'll start turning the shop.
Is a thought, because I can't help someone without my. Scott scanner or copier, say somebody's a first grade, I can't.
there will be disruptions.
yeah. We're gonna make it very clear to the public there's going.
Easier.
I don't want to close because there are certain offices that need to be up and functioning. And we are servants to the public. I get there's going to be disruptions. And if they come on those 2 days, they need to realize that there's going to be a wait.
I think we've got a couple weeks here to keep announcing and pound that out. And I think we should do
I
some.
think you need to go
Ads
crazy on
too.
that, because people always miss it no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have Facebook posts?
Dalton can make a post. Dalton, can you make a post on our Facebook page? I think he's the only one that's allowed to make posts.
No, I can, and, yeah, we have a few people on there, so if you guys want to access, we can add you too.
Who has access to making public posts?
Forrest and I right now, I guess.
Okay. Yeah, I'll come down maybe after the meeting, or you can just do a rough draft of limited ability to service the county citizens on the 16th and 17th.
Maybe long wait times, maybe.
Could be an hour
I
to,
even put the 18th on there too. Just
yeah, 16th through the 18th. Well, and every week,
physically where it needs to be, but system wise, it may not be, as far as the DOT goes.
and then
Hooking things up never always go this smooth, because you sometimes think either, you know.
We got Dalton behind the scenes, so
Yeah.
everything will go.
Dalton and Forrest.
smooth.
The other thing too is I went to each department, and if you guys have anything personal, any personal pictures, any personal candles, please take those home. Because I would hate for any of your personal items to get broken. What else am I missing? I guess I'm really, yeah, and I'll
Or
take
put them in
questions.
your own little,
So you're moving for me on the 16th.
She's gonna be the first thing right away.
Thinking moving my office, because I need to let DOT know.
That's the other
17th or
coordination.
18th.
I would say 17.
I'd say 17 for your starters.
If they could come disconnect on the 16th afternoon.
I'll shoot them out an email because I think they were thinking a different date, but I'll let you know.
You let us know what they say, and then we'll kind of work around that for your office. Also, to let you know, your safe is not going to be moved. It is going to be moved out of the building and maybe potentially finding a new home.
To never
It should be a
return.
time capsule.
You go right ahead and take that and have your husband come get it.
Yeah.
There's a couple other things before we do questions.
I think you covered the things. I was thinking just the,
I think the big thing is we all need to just remember that we got bear and grin. There's always a little pain and suffering before the good.
Yeah, and the more we can get along and everybody work together, the better. I know this isn't fun, and as of that, the 16th, we're probably gonna, is that a bill day?
Well, if it's supposed to be, we can make it so it's not. No, the 9th and 23rd.
Perfect. So why don't you go ahead and everybody plan on not having a meeting on the 16th, so if you can be here to help, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Trying to think if I'm forgetting something. I'm sure I am, but
future board meeting here.
future board meetings for the supervisors is going to be out at the Conservation Education Center in their board meeting room. So, and it's at no charge, nothing. We're just moving the meetings until, so that's gonna offer space, more space down below until, so we'll just pack up our suitcases and leave.
We are gonna need some type of service counter for the treasurer's move to something sturdy and burly where people can write checks on. They'll probably have to have perhaps a computer monitor or something on it, but I think we need to get an outside quote. It can't just be a couple of 2x4s and a hollow core door.
That's no problem. We also need to, please keep in mind and take with a grain of salt, because I do have a little bit of OCD, so I don't like clutter. But if you have anything in your office that truly can be thrown away, donated, sold, do it and get rid of it now. So it's one less thing that we have to
Don't need
pay.
to move jump twice.
Or we'll throw the dumpster in there.
I've been cleaning mine now.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we need a roll off or just a dumpster. I don't know.
Well, so Lisa and I came up with an idea that some of her stuff can actually go down into the basement where we currently have some books stored. But there are some things down there that actually probably don't even work anymore, like a projector from like the old school. So dumpster might not be a bad idea, but I know she offered to help me go through some of the stuff down there to get room and to get rid of things we don't need.
I went down last week and looked at my boxes, and I had 23 boxes of stuff. There were old assessment rolls that do not need to be kept.
But those have to be shredded, right? Or not? No, just throw them?
Yeah, so I went down and marked all those boxes for Zach, and so he's going to be tossing those. And then I think I've got 9 boxes in here that can go down in the basement that we do have.
Okay.
But it might help if everybody just goes down and marks it. You just have me put the yellow.
Or even help move, just get rid of the stuff, because we can't rely all on Zach to do it all. I mean, if it's part of your department.
Well, he has limited room to put, he can only put so many in the dumpster each week.
Yeah.
So we maybe just need to get a
Let's get
roll.
roll for them 2 days. Be done.
Before or after? I think we should do it before the move.
Yes,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
before.
What
and
day are
during.
you thinking about doing? Promotion?
Let's plan on roll off day. I'm gonna be,
Can you have the movers and stuff to the dump and have it on there those days are moving?
Yeah.
You could be like red sticky means garbage.
Yeah. So,
but I think the more you can get rid of, the better. But if it's like something heavy, I get that. Yeah.
It'd be nice to have the roll off here the week before, I think.
Can you call like SAPs, or
Where do we want to put it?
who do we do garbage business through?
Right on.
You would ask me that, I don't know.
I think
I'd have
it's
to look it
SAPS,
up.
isn't it?
I can call.
I think it is.
We call Brad and see if we can get,
But I think we probably want it right outside the front door.
No, we got handicap parking.
Can't do that.
Well, maybe over in the corner. Well, they do motorcycle testing over there. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we've got ones out the east door now, but I was just trying to make it more convenient for these people on this floor where they can go out the front door versus take the elevator
In the
down.
rear, but can we put them like that first parking spot where the sheriff parks right there? It's a little bit of a walk.
Meetings are gonna take over that. When they're doing this floor, they're gonna take that area over anyway. in front of the-
Yeah, but we could take over that parking spot till that time.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do that. Is that okay there, one?
oh, I have no problem walking 12 feet.
About 82 feet.
If it's heavy, you're gonna probably roll it out there anyway.
Yeah,
We have 2 little carts.
we could drop it right there and, I'll do it on like a Sunday or something.
So you're taking the dumpster the week before.
Sometime the week
12th or
before.
13th, something like that.
So, I mean, and if you guys, if you're not willing to carry out some of the boxes in your own department, just tag it and I'll take it out.
Fine. But so on the 12th and 13th, that Thursday, Friday, before the move, course will be going back up. So the elevator will probably be getting used a lot those couple days. During working hours, the movers will be here.
And the state will be here to hook up their computers.
So it might be kind of hard to get stuff in the basement. Where you can only do-
The elevator will
I
probably,
am gonna plan on that. I'm probably not going to do that. The 12th and 13th, I may come in between now.
I think it'd be nice if we could have the rollaway out there for like a whole week.
Yeah,
Then as people have time, they can.
but I almost,
Yeah.
I'm thinking is the week before a very good idea because I'd like to do some of it now.
Do it now. I mean, it can sit out there for 3 or 4 weeks until it's full. I mean, yeah, I'm sure.
Cause I think that puts a lot of time crunch on that week. Like if we could do a roll off,
Just,
if they even have one
they don't
available.
charge daily, I mean. they charge
No.
Per ton, so they're not gonna care.
I'd say the sooner the better we can get it out there. I know everybody
I
has
think
a lot
that's
of
a good
stuff they can
point.
get rid of.
And I guess we probably fill it. I'm gonna guess we do.
We might have to get it redoing it.
So why don't you look and see when the soonest I can bring a
I
roll?
just text them October 2nd, see what they say.
Right?
That gives you 2 full weeks before.
Is that doable? Do you guys feel like that having it for 2 full weeks is a good idea?
I have a wedding weekend of the 7th, so I'm not sure how much that first week I'll get stuff in it, by the next week. I'll start doing stuff now.
We'll have it 3 weeks then, basically.
Well, at least if you got it identified and stuff, then that's probably the biggest thing. Making sure what you want to get rid of and what don't.
Courtney, you said you had color coded tape.
Okay, we can talk about that. Each office being color coded, but then I heard the clerk's office that they color coded each desk location. So that they knew this person's chair and this person's desk and this person's calculator all went to one location.
Here, I would recommend you put, so like Ashton at her office, put your calculator, your mouse pad, your keyboard in a box.
Speaking of that,
Mark it,
that was my
Ashton.
question. Are we gonna have boxes?
Yes.
We've been hoarding them for our office. but-
Okay.
See, we don't go through that much paper, so.
Let me,
2 minutes in the truck, they were $3 a piece to buy bankers boxes.
Well, I think you can buy them boxes, storage, moving boxes someplace.
keep your filing cabinets full. Don't empty them. They want them full.
I'm just thinking the stuff on top of our desk.
I can get you boxes. I can find boxes.
I can maybe see if I can get some. Or my computer.
You want to talk about where you foresee people being at? On the ground floor, like location wise?
So,
Wherever you find room.
no.
It's a race.
It's a race.
Okay. Gonna go to my podium here. So this is the future board of supervisor room, and this is just my opinion, the board hasn't agreed to this, but I think we put the treasurer in there because you guys are probably the most foot traffic. You can kind of go down there and look how they have it set up now, it looks kind of similar to this. Then I don't know.
will each room have a counter? Because, you know, we all probably need a counter of some sort, or at least people to.
What I'm doing is I have two bookcases that are only like this high and like this big.
down.
And I'm just gonna take them and set it back from the doorway a ways, but it kind of in front of the doorway. That's what I'm gonna use.
And there's not gonna be like an enclosed, the public is coming in.
So Courtney, you're going over that over.
I think Courtney's gonna go here for the
There's two
election.
counters in that one, there's a counter in that room there, and then.
And then she can put her temporary booths out
I
here.
just need somewhere for people to run.
Yeah. So the assessor and the recorder gotta kind of figure out probably between those two spaces. What about this space? What is in there now?
That's the court. That's just where they have chairs. Because I was figuring we'd go here because it was smaller and there's only two of us.
And then have the recorder.
Who's going in the hallway or the bathroom?
Is there? Who's going to town?
Maybe somebody think,
You don't have to come down.
This place here.
that's what Lisa was talking about, the hallway.
I mean, we plan on using that space for election, but if somebody needs to be in here, we'll have to just use the OGS space for that.
There's nothing in here, well, there's stored stuff in here.
Isn't that where the contract got a lot of stuff stored?
They do. And I assume it's probably staying there until this project's over. So we'll do treasurer, auditor, potentially assessor, and recorder.
Keep in mind that the treasurer and the auditor, both, we have them. You know, these guys get, so
We need
they
to talk
need,
to you, Raj.
yeah, so where does my stuff that's in my vault go if I'm not gonna have that space there?
And same with
Hopefully
him,
some of
where does my stuff go?
Or, yeah, Lisa and I gonna have to stick our stuff in the vacated jail part.
How much of yours has to come down? How much of your?
Everything has to come out of my stuff because you guys are leaving that floor.
But how much of that has to be moved down? Does part of it go into Cindy's vault or to Ashton's vault?
I don't know if I'm coming back up. That's the thing. Why would I leave it up here if I'm not coming back up?
Yeah, I don't, yeah, I was just trying to say,
We probably need to bring that to board discussion as well.
I might put it in the basement because they've scanned all my the board minutes and they've scanned all the transfer books. They're not available online yet, but they've already scanned them, so I'm not gonna need them in my vault.
They're done.
Yeah.
And keep in mind too, I think I brought this to you guys' attention. This floor is only closed off, 100% closed off in their meeting. You guys can come up when they're not meeting.
That's about it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't come back up, what's going on there?
We haven't had that discussion yet. We had to,
that's my DSL.
yeah, we did.
Or what's it? I didn't realize anyone was not moving back up, or what was the reason behind that, or?
Because I don't have anywhere for people to go.
But this space might actually.
Where would they go though? Next to the bathroom? Or next to the elevator?
Counter like they always do, or you know, you can put your two computers, the small counter. and
Well, I'm
one
required by
whole-
law to have a handicap accessible place for them to go, and I won't have that. Where am I gonna put that?
Can you put a table right inside the door like the treasurer's office has their computer?
Private, but I don't know. I'm open to discussions, but something's gonna have to, whether it's like they have now, we walk in and, you know, you're checking in and maybe it's a little further source. I'll leave mine, but I'm open to that, but
We're not talking about that right now because we haven't had that discussion finalized, so don't create animosity between the departments. It's not worth it. Yeah, so tentatively, you guys treasurer, assessor, auditor, recorder.
Yeah, so overflow.
Or-
If that was your question.
Well, I was just wondering, because like, you know, we have to have access to titles and registrations and all our DOT stuff. And I didn't know how much, I can move it to a vault, that's no problem, I just want to know if I can move it to a storeroom downstairs on the main floor. Like you said, like she said,
Well, I think-
jail.
I think
or-
right now, temporarily, you could have access to that room, that hallway right now, and straight away, that was her question, 'cause I didn't know if somebody was gonna go in that space.
Yeah.
But that would be perfect overflow for some of your.
Is this stuff that you access every day?
Well, yeah, I mean, we don't know when our title's gonna run out, so we have to get to our title. You know, we don't know when our registration is, we can only put so much in the front.
Scott Sapp is,
You know, and every day we just go on a.
180 plus the info. Whatever cost it up, perfect.
180 a week.
No, forever, until we fill it.
You know, gravel's
The rest is 1 day or.
He said, how many dumps? I said 1 or 2. I don't know.
Top things. I have
You say that, and then it ends up being like.
I don't matter. He'll charge it by then. Yeah.
He just pays it.
I was just thinking, so when is he bringing it?
For more storage, because I have a big conference too.
Is he bringing it like 5
I'm gonna
a.m.?
say
We
deliver,
could definitely put the conference table in
Or-
jail if you want to fix it up.
deliver weekend before.
I'm just
So that's
thinking,
just, you walk in there,
And
it's
I'll
just
drop
like
it
open
in.
space for
Yeah.
storage.
well, I'm just thinking. It's just a whole new or anyway.
Everything in
Yeah.
here is done.
I'm gonna.
You got empty this.
Yeah, who's gonna move this one?
Yeah, who's gonna move this?
Get your own box.
You're not gonna move it because it's screwed into the floor. This is gonna go in the dumpster.
This and the safe are both. Landmarks.
I've killed my knee plenty of times on this table.
Up in here.
Because that thing is a battle to open some days. I mean, some days it's like butter opened up,
And I
and
know,
other days it's like,
I know you were having a conversation with some people on what kind of safe it has to be, right?
right, and they said, I just talked to Chris Rawlings from Dickinson County, she just bought one, the one they had was 25 years old. She just made sure to get one that was heavy enough and they lock it in the vault. It's not safe to the ground, it's nothing like that, just someone can't pick it up and walk out the door.
And Sarah, you could almost potentially in the future do that in Ashton's vault, put the tiny safe or whatever, because you don't need a ton, because you just have the deposits from the passports. We just have to have it lockable, right?
Yep.
And we could potentially put that, do you have like this much space in your vault? Close. Okay.
The roll off will be here October 2nd.
She has to have a lockable
Yep. It'll be here
door
6 weeks.
for passports. And right now, none of her filing cabinets locked, but I said we could come up with something. We'd find something that would be lockable. So yeah, bear with us because I don't have all the answers. Nobody here has all the answers. This is kind of,
By having all these filing cabinets in the back, like the storage cabinets locked. They've been back there since I've been here 30 years ago, and I have no idea where the keys are.
Other thing, do we have,
I don't know, you can lock them.
is it,
If you're gonna be here and, I
We
mean,
might be able to, I'm just saying when they're moving them so the doors don't open, they shouldn't shut them on.
We can saran wrap them,
Is that-
we can saran wrap them. And I can't tell you guys how to act or function as an elected official, but I would really appreciate it if you guys help just watch your department. Because we're gonna be here. They're bringing a supervisor, just help watch.
And I'm assuming we're all wearing jeans and tennis shoes.
Yes.
Days to move.
I'm gonna be in leggings and sweatshirts because it sounds like I'm gonna be doing a lot of moving, which is fine. But yeah, no,
Okay.
it's okay that you're not in dress wear.
Well, I think, and we gotta be careful so you don't get in their way neither.
Yeah,
We've gotta be cognizant of everybody's space.
One more question. Where are you wanting us to park? Once we move?
good question. So the front doors will be locked from October 23rd until St. Patrick's Day. So no employees can access the front of the buildings. The general contractor Batings will have fobs to their subcontractors. That's it. So, and they're gonna take over the parking lot in front, the sheriff's side, with their construction equipment, kind of like they did when they were building the jail. So employees will have to either park on the street or in the
parking lot.
east side of the front parking lot, and then access from the east or the south.
What about that parking lot that they're in now?
They're gonna be moving all that.
So could we park there?
Well, we'd rather leave it open to the public. I mean, the library owns half of that,
Yeah.
but so I could see street parking from the Carroll 5 theaters to Moose Lodge and coming in the south side, or park in front and walk around the building.
So will we be able, will we have fobs? Haven't even looked. Are there fobs down there that we used to get in when we get in?
Same
Same
fob for all buildings.
Okay, I didn't know if there were things down there or not, for the east or the south part.
The east door, I don't know about the south door.
Okay.
I don't know about that. Dalton, is there a fob for the south door?
Overall. Well,
I don't know if the south has
I don't
one.
think the south one has a.
I don't think it has a
I
fob.
think it's what the east side does.
Yes, it does have a fob, actually, guys.
The south side, thank you.
I never walked them. I come from that side.
Yeah, the east side's the one I use. Yeah, thank you. Well, I was thinking for the pizza delivery for 911, there was no fob.
There's no way to them to open the door.
Gotcha.
Any more pressing questions? Okay, so I will try to round up some boxes. I'll figure out the color coding and get you guys either stickers. We have the dumpster coming on the 2nd. It's gonna be parked right out front. You can take your boxes and I will help Zach and myself and whoever else will be willing to help throw things away.
What we could do with the color coding for each desk, if my office is red, I could put a C on the ones that are mine and an R on the ones that are Riley's, so they know the desk.
But I think they're gonna do it during working hours, so we'll be here. We're gonna, I think that they're gonna be on the packing end when they're packing it. And then on the receiving, they're gonna say, no, I want it 6 inches over this way further.
Yeah.
I was just, yeah, there's not that much.
Have any idea how you're gonna put my office together now?
Nope, that's your call.
Your call.
See, I told you were gonna do that.
That's- And you can't get to it until, because they're not
Yeah.
moving out till the 13th, so you've got that weekend to come in and measure the drapes.
I do want to say thank, I know 100 different ideas, 100 different people, so I get that you're pulling off the way, so thank you for your patience with us as well.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
We gotta make
And
it.
Ashton, I know we talked about, we have a couple things that can't be seen by the public or is not public access. We'll either move that to a space where it won't be seen, or we can lock up your,
It should just be that day when we're moving and we'll keep it locked.
or we could just lock
And
it.
then if you wouldn't have them move, maybe you just need to walk with it.
Yeah.
No, it's not being moved. The 2 cabinets and her vault need to be moved, but those will be tagged and we'll go, or
Yeah.
we will go in there
That should be
together.
short.
Everybody's got probably a couple things, vault or filing cabinets that need to be moved because it's a daily basis that they access them. Some of the other stuff, we're just gonna lock the vault and leave it. Okay, I don't think I missed anything. If I did, I apologize. I'll try and be as helpful as possible.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Okay, motion and a second. Any more discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. So you reach out to her.
I'm calling. Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks. Oh,
You know, there's one thing, I noticed that one person here, didn't offer to help us move. That was Zach.
Smart.
Payloader. So I'm calling this Chase right now, Martin Chase.
We do have job descriptions for all of our people.
Good.
As well.
So not
apparently secondary road just